start. Okay, so last week you guys drew a sculpture. You drew a picture of what you wanted your wire armature to look like. So can I borrow yours, Roger, real quick? Okay, Roger's got his nice koi fish here. He did his wire armature drawing. Now today we have to make this come to life with wire. So I want to show you a couple basics of the wire that we're working with today, the tools that we'll be using, and kind of how to start, because getting started is the trickiest part. There's two different types of wire I have. They're both called 14 gauge wire. 14 gauge just refers to how large it is around, okay? The lower the number, the wider the wire is, okay? The higher the number, the smaller. So 20 gauge wire is going to be thinner than this. 10 gauge wire is going to be thicker around. This is aluminum armature wire. It bends really easily. You can twist it around your finger, no problem, and it can be bent back into shape pretty easily. It's not as strong as this. This is a galvanized steel wire. It's what they use for making electric fences, like if you ever see that on a farm. And it's the same thickness, but it's a lot stronger than the aluminum wire. It'll hold its shape better, but it is harder to bend and to get detail with, okay? So you're gonna need to decide between these two types of wire what will work better for your sculpture. If your drawing has a lot of detail, like Roger's has these curves and things in it, he's probably going to want to work with the 14 gauge aluminum. If you've got something that's like a big open shape, you may want to consider this just so that it will hold its shape better, alright? So the first step you'll do today when we get started is you'll tell me what kind of wire you want, and I'm going to cut you off a length about this long. This is not the only wire you'll get, it's just what you'll start with, and as you need more, you just need to come ask me. Other things I'm going to let you work with today are these pliers. They're a dual tool, so they've got a pliers on the top and they've got a wire cutter on the inside of them. Do not try to bend wire with this. This is just a straight up wire cutter. If you try to bend the wire with this, it'll break it. So this is just for cutting. And then these needle nose pliers that look like this and they taper down to a point, those are good for bending. There's some weird pliers in here, the ones that hook up like this. They'll work, but they're just a little trickier to work with. There's some pliers that have a dual round barrel on them, and they're a little harder if you want to get like a real angled line, like a sharp angle. Don't try to use these. But if you want to make a loop, these work well for that. And finally, there's these ones. They look like a duck beak or something. They're both flat, and they're really good if you need to squeeze something, okay? Like compress it or crimp it. So I'm going to grab one of these, and I'm going to grab myself a needle nose pliers. So when you start, you want to get your wire in front of you, and I like to start from the middle and kind of bend it around so that my ends are free. So Roger's first shape is going to be a pretty basic shape. I'm going to make a little angle where the nose is. I don't need to make it too sharp of an angle, so I won't use my pliers. And then I'm going to start deciding, he's going to do this, how big he wants the body to be. Remember, the wood blocks we're using aren't that huge, and so you don't want to make this gigantic wire sculpture, because if his fish is this big and he tries to support it on that tiny little wood block, what do you think is going to happen? It'll fall, it'll tip really easily. So the size of the horse that I made is about the size you want to try to keep your sculpture, just so that once all that paper gets on there, it's not too heavy and off balance, okay? He's going to start thinking about how to bend this wire so that it comes to a good meeting point. Maybe he'll do the body of the fish first. There's like a narrow part here for the tail, so you might want to bend that. Now he's got to figure out how to connect these two pieces, because right now, I don't want to take Xavier's eye out, but right now they're just flopping around, and they've got to end up being anchored together. So he can do a couple things. Yeah, he can crimp it, like Kiana was saying. If he wants, he can just twist it to connect them. Now obviously his fish doesn't come to a skinny little point like that, it's thicker, but he can add on that thickness with paper later. So this is just the skeleton of your sculpture. Now this is maybe a good starting point. Maybe from here he wants to start thinking about how to make the tail. Now for these wire armatures, does he have to get every little detail on here? No, he just needs the basic shape that he can start to work with, okay? Now what I would do is maybe do the top, tail, wrap this around so that it's got an anchor.
The tree is supposed to make your first fish.
Oh, he doesn't get to keep this. He's going to make his own. Should I anchor it in like that? Is that going to be sturdy?
No.
No, this is gonna bend. His fish is gonna do a nosedive. So he's gonna need to cut it right here probably. But first, I'll do the other part of the tail. Okay. Again, want to anchor it in here so that,
It looks like loose.
yeah, it kind of does. Now, his fish is just sort of flat right now. To get its body to have 3D shape, I can bring this around and anchor it by twisting it and making a loop around here. So now it's on there, but is it sturdy yet?
No.
No, so that's where these flat ones come in. I'm gonna get it on there, and then if I squeeze really hard, it's like it crimps it into place, right? And that's not gonna move around too much now. And then to really make sure it stays, I'll take that end, that little extra end, and twist it around. Careful with your fingers. We don't want any blood today. Use your pliers if you're in doubt, okay? So now I can do one of two things. I can use this to create 3 dimensions on the other side of the body, or I can clip this and make this one of the anchor points. Is his fish gonna be okay if I only put one wire in there, do you
No.
think?
No.
No, he's gonna need another one. So what I would do then is wrap a wire here, crimp it and secure it, and bring that other balancing post down into the block this way, okay? So today you're working on creating the wire frame for your sculpture, okay? Most of you will probably get a good start on that. When you're done, I want you to take a piece of masking tape and wrap it around like a little flag, put your name on it, and we're gonna store it on that tan shelf over there, okay? That's where they'll go. Questions before we get going? All right, cool.